This AskReddit user asks, what is your favorite insult of all time? Either your birth certificate was an apology letter from the abortion clinic, or you are as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Those are amazing. Either calling someone a shit blimp or a pompous CK jockey. What about a land sea cow? Scratching could not make it worse. 'Twere such a face as yours. Quote, as a highly unlikable person, I find it's hard to keep track of all the people that want to kill me. Don't you? Alan Shore. Boston Legal. Also, there are 10 million particles in the universe that we can observe. Your mama took the ugly ones and put them into one nerd, Stephen Hawking. Epic rap battles of history, Einstein vs. Stephen Hawking. Shakespeare v. Dr. Seuss. My rhymes are classic. Your CP was drafted by a kindergartner high on acid. Quote, why'd you name your company after your PS? Steve Jobs. Epic rap battles of history, Bill Gates vs. Steve Jobs. I overheard a student at my school addressing the 8th grade twats that would harass anyone. I bet your parents change the subject when people ask about you. Quote, FG destroyed. It's sad because maybe 2 of the goons understood that comment, while the others just stood there with faces contorted attempting to comprehend the insult. You absolute walnut. I would explain it more for you, but I have neither the time nor the crayons. In the same vein, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. Quote, there was this dude who wrote the poem. A really beautiful poem about how the 7 winds of the world couldn't move him. When she sent it across the lake to his friend just wrote the equivalent of fart on it and sent it back. The dude who wrote the poem was furious, and he went across the lake to complain in person. All his friends says when he gets there the 7 winds of the world can't move you, but a fart sends you across the lake. My grandfather once told my grandmother, if you had a second brain it'd be lonesome. Cantonese swear that translates to, FK your mom so hard she hits the roof. On the roof there is a bomb. The bomb explodes killing her and your whole family AE. Ha ha ha. What's the Cantonese translation? That's longer than I thought it'd be. Is each character represented as a letter or sound like shish, ch, or th? Yes. You are not the stupidest person in the world, but you better pray they don't die. Then I'll be praying for your health. Private Snowball. The whole Full Metal Jacket scene. You're not as dumb as you look. You're about as useful as a paper condom and you're worth even less. Fun fact, in the old days they used sheep intestines in place of condoms. Some places they didn't even bother to take it out of the sheep. You talking about whales? You're not being the person Mr. Rogers knew you could be. This hurts worse than words can express. God DN. Man. This and the Bob Ross one cut deep. You think you're the hot ST on a golden platter, but you're just a cold TD on a paper plate. I wouldn't give you a lick of my ST. Quote, you clearly have a small DK. You would have had a big one, but you've shoved 3/4 into your personality. Quote, on a similar note, if you hadn't shoved 3/4 of it into your personality you'd actually have an average PS. Quote, expected nothing. Still disappointed. DN. Didn't know my dad has a Reddit account. Hey kiddo. How did the store have such a long line? Now that I understand fully what you're telling me, I'm even less impressed. You couldn't pour PS out of a boot if the instructions were on the heel. If your brain were gasoline it wouldn't be enough to power an ant's motorcycle halfway around the inside of a Cheerio. FK that's good. I'm saving that. A supercomputer calculating for 1,000 years cannot get anywhere near the number of FKs I do not give. I heard it somewhere. Don't know where. I like using it. That would be from Sword Art Online. Abridged. One of my favorite quotes. A quantum supercomputer calculating for 1,000 years could not even approach the number of Fs I do not give. Quote. 2 million sperm. You had to be the one. When they circumcised the right honorable gentleman, they threw away the wrong bit. Quote. Said in British Parliament, I believe. I love upper crust British insults. Absolutely some of the most savage burns. Yet refined. Circumcision jokes. Upper crust. EEWWW. Through. Isn't it rather dangerous to use your entire vocabulary in a single sentence? F for whoever got this one. Frankie said it in Oliver and Company. Excuse me, friend. I believe you mean Francis. Not Frank. Not Frankie. Francis tilde. Edit. I missed that movie. Watched it so many times as a kid that my VHS started to wear out. Lol. Ha. You have a very unique perspective on that subject. You'll never be half the man your mom was. Don't you have to be stupid somewhere else? Not until 4. Bob Ross would call you a mistake. If you make a mistake, you can turn it into a bird. ODN. I saw your comment. Kept reading. Exited the thread. Scrolled down the front page. Then your comment registered in my brain and I let out an audible DN. Quote. I had to come back and find this thread in your comment. Kudos. DN. Did your mother only have plastic coat hangers or something? Quote. When someone says go FK yourself, respond with, FK me yourself you coward. Is that an insult or an invitation? Both. You naughty CT. You're making me blush. If I wanted to kill myself, I would jump off your ego and land on your IQ. You are a lesser son of greater sires. Bully. Does your mom know you're gay? Gay kid. No, but your dad does. One of my favorite LGBT comebacks of all time. Great. The next generation of 12-year-olds on Xbox Live are going to be telling me of how they FD my dad so good. At least it'll be a change of pace. You're about as useful as Anne Frank's drum kit. That is awesome. I'm still waiting to use it. So is Anne Frank. In the 70s, the Cleveland Browns fans would throw paper airplanes in the stadium. A lawyer, who was a season ticket holder, sent a letter to the Browns stating that if he or any of his guests were injured, he wouldn't hesitate to sue. It was given to a junior lawyer at the Browns organization. He sent the letter back and wrote, attached is a letter that we received on November 19, 1974. I feel that you should be aware that some AE is signing your name to stupid letters. Quote. One of my all-time favorite burns. CK juggling thunder CT. I thought it was gargling instead of juggling. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Cum guzzling thunder CT works as well. I'm gonna slap the smell of DK right out of your mouth. Quote dash. Female bar goer to female bartender. Every breath you take is a stunning endorsement of abortion. Quote. I get why people talk about you when you're not around. Oh ho ho, this would burn an insecure person. It really would. Source. Am insecure person. Bless your heart. There's a Facebook group called Op Eats Corn on the Cob Longways. I'd agree with you. But then we'd both be wrong. I don't know why. But I can read that in House's voice. I always liked Capt. Mal Reynolds to Jane. Well, my days of not taking you seriously are certainly coming to a middle. Certainly indeed. My favorite Mal insult. I'm thinking you're not burdened with an overabundance of schooling. Quote. I swear by my pretty floral bonnet. I will end you. Quote. That whole show was amazingly written. It breaks my heart that it was never given a fair chance. Inbred swamp CT. Gordon Ramsay's. What are you? Quote. An idiot sandwich. I also like the one where he says, this squid is so undercooked. I can still hear it telling SpongeBob and Patrick to FCK off. Why did the chicken cross the road? Quote, "'Cause you didn't FG cook it. Do I need to revive Hitler to teach you how to use a FG oven?" Quote, "I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt off elderberries, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I love it because it's a classy way to say your mom was a WE and your dad was a drunkard." Really? How do you get WE from hamster? Hamsters reproduce a lot. Pretty much anything attributed to Winston Churchill. Paraphrased, "Sir, if I were your wife, I would poison your drink. Madam, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Mr. Churchill, you are drunk. Yes. And you're ugly. But tomorrow I'll be sober." In boot camp, our chief would say to anyone whose uniform was jacked up, that they look like a soup sandwich. That has always stuck with me. My dad. Some DD must have swapped out my daughter for a stupid PK while I wasn't looking. DDDAAAAMMMN, what did you do? I take it you're not the favorite child. She probably was before she got replaced by some stupid PK. If you were to die, the world would spin twice as fast, not being weighed down by your denseness. Sounds like a Gandalf insult to Pippin. UFG donkey. You only wear panties to keep your ankles warm. I bet your PY looks like a hobbit's foot. My feet are FG sexy AE. IFG love your username. I'm trying to suppress that mental image before it fully forms. Tucker. There is a very fine line between not listening and not caring. I like to think I walk that line every single day of my life. Red versus Blue Church to Tucker. When you were born, the doctor slapped your mother. There are approximately 300 words in the English language. But I could never string enough words together to properly express how much I want to hit you with a chair. Alexander Hamilton. I hear that bit almost made it into the Constitution. Declaration of Independence. National Treasure starring Nicolas Cage. I hope your day is as pleasant as you are. I say this to customers when they're being jerks. UDN, I guess the simple ones are really the best ones. Can be both a compliment and an insult. I like it. Oxygen thief. You're so dumb I could drop you in a barrel of TS and you'll still come out sucking your thumb. You couldn't pour water out of a boot if the instructions were on the heel. Quote, now that's a proper Southern insult. I mean, learning how to rely on ourselves? Are you a professional moron? Or just a gifted amateur Carl Johnson? Did you buy your license? Quote, I would have roasted you. But my mom said I'm not allowed to burn trash. You are proof of AL conception. OST son. Niece doubling down XD. I am not angry. Just disappointed in you. It's alright. Just be yourself. At a bar my friend ran out of cash for the bartender's tip. He told the tender he'd be back with a tip and the bartender just smirked and said, sure buddy. Quote, my friend did in fact come back and attempt to give the guy his tip, but another bartender was there and plainly and coldly said, it's alright man. Just be yourself, shaming him for what he thought was who my friend really is, a non-tipper. Now I use it all the time. My husband gets up out of guilt to help put kids to bed after I've done the bulk of the work. I just pat him on the shoulder and say, it's okay man. Just be yourself. Your mother should have swallowed you instead. Or, the best part of you ran down your mother's leg. Shut your CK holster before I kickstart your face. Shut that cunt's mouth before I come over there and fuck start her head. Ryan Philippe. The way of the gun. I'd take my comeback but it's still on your sister's face. Your ass must be jealous of all the ST that comes out of your mouth. Ha ha ha. Edit. This deserves an award. Bo. The Rock is a gold mine. But one of my favorites is the SNL wears he's working in a Hawaiian restaurant. All disgruntled because he has to wear a hula skirt and sing to a ukulele. And he's like, here's a fun fact about Hawaii. Our biggest export is coffee. And our biggest import is fat white tourists. Quote. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.